back to another episode of Unscripted, and we're going to pick the conversation right back up. If you've not listened to the last two episodes, we've kind of been going over what we call Jed's origin story, right? Basically, how he went from Ice Pirates back in the 90s, all through his saturation diving career, coaching, ultimately co-owning the Bighorns and owning the rink. And we didn't get time to dive into this specific subject to finish that conversation, which is talking about the Fraser Cup and that win that year. So we're going to pick it up from there. And I kind of want this just to be a conversation about some fun stories from out the year and all that stuff. But we recruited this team. Well, there's quite a few guys that came up from Colorado Springs Tigers again. You mentioned Dave Feemster in the last episode. Both of his sons played here. Mm-hmm. For those of you that remember, there was, Sam was here with that 01 group, and then Joe came the following year. And I remember doing an interview with Joe the year that we won the Cup, and he said that he wanted nothing more than to come back to Helena with something with his name on it. And he was referring to, we've got business to do this year, right? We've been,
We've been sniffing for a while.
We'd been sniffing. Yeah. And I think every one of the players in that particular group just knew that it was theirs that year and nobody was going to stand in their way.
Yeah.
And so talk to me about initially that group and how that came together.
That group just had swagger. It did. Each year built on itself, and we were very fortunate with, having good leadership with our captains. And I'll be fair, man. That group just showed up and they knew they were going to win. There's no real way to think about it. I was thinking about it in the gym when I was working out this morning, like how would I talk about this in the aspect of, how to explain it? And the only way is they would not be fucking denied. Mm-hmm. They showed up and they were going to beat you regardless. And that was, I think, that mindset that shifted. And I think that was the big shift for a lot of those guys that were here the second year when we lost. And they weren't going to be denied. This is what the promised land looks like. Fuck it. We know what it takes now, and that's it. And I think that's the biggest thing. They never once thought they were going to lose a hockey game. Not once did they panic. We get down 2-0 in a game. It did go locker room. Everybody's in good spirits. It wasn't like, there was any major corrections. It wasn't like there was panic in anything they did, and it was just going to happen. That's the biggest takeaway from it. I mean, obviously they had, like I said, the leadership group with Captain Dylan Cunningham and stuff, guys like that. We're just, all the way through. We had a lot of 20-year-olds that year, but everybody bought in. Everybody pulled the same rope. I think we had 7 dudes at 50 points or some shit.
Yeah.
It was just everybody contributed. If one guy was out, it didn't matter. We had fucking 2 more stepping right in, Mm-hmm. And like I said, nobody panicked. It was pretty special group for sure.
That year, obviously, Gillette was I wouldn't say just as good, but they were probably a step below us, right? Probably didn't have the depth that we had, which showed later. Mm-hmm. But was that a situation where steel kind of sharpened steel throughout the season, right? I mean, when you're playing Gillette 6 times a season.
Didn't we that year we play them 8?
It could have been 8 too.
Just because I think we challenged. But either way, to your point. Yeah.
So to be playing a team at that was at least close to our level repeatedly, I would say that would help. What do you think?
Well, obviously, you take a guy like Bogan who was with us from that first year, every year we broke Gillette's heart, and he was part of that, and so was I think Dylan was as well. Mm-hmm. Trying to think if the other guys came on the next year, but it was just Gillette just couldn't. They just couldn't figure it out, and they were a good hockey team. Ethan, the coach, recruited great. He had some studs. He did. There's no doubt about it. But they just couldn't. They just couldn't find a way. And you were at Nationals, that semifinal game, it was us and Gillette. Of course it was. Why wouldn't it be?
Why wouldn't it be?
And that the winner of that game was going to win the whole thing, and that was obvious. So, yeah, no, it was just over the years. I think it just not having that rivalry, not having that competition, that would have been almost like a I don't want to say detriment because that's not fair, but like you need to have that team that pushes you. And out here, that was having that Gillette those 3 years was huge in the development of our team and our franchise to go win the Cup.
Sure, absolutely. Some of them, there's a lot of great stories that came out of that season, between the players and, coaches and all that stuff. Theo Camp came on board that year. Kind of talk to me about the decisions about, obviously Theo and Damon have been close ever since they played together. I mean, he was the best man in Damon's wedding that I got to film, by the way. Check it out on YouTube. It was a really good time. It was. The point being is kind of bringing on Theo kind of almost solidified the mission, right? Is that kind of, and what was the decision process there? Bringing a coach in mid-season. Talk to me about the decision you guys had to make there.
It just was bringing in somebody that complemented what we were trying to do, and Theo's Bighorn blue through and through. So it was an easy pull. It was more so of having him wondering if he would actually commit to what it took. Because, I mean, he's got his own business. He's got a family. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes those guys, they want to do it, but then they actually look at what the commitment is, and it's like, oh, fuck, I don't know. You know what I mean? I've got all this going on, and he just full send. So to be able to have somebody like that compliments Damon, that, can relate to the players, that is, willing to put all his chips on the table for the brand, but is just huge. And obviously that helps tie everything together. So yeah, it was more of a fuck, would he take the job? As opposed to, like he came to us, you know what I mean? It was like, you're an assistant coach, man, but it's bigger for Theo because he's part of something that he truly loves. So it was, once he said he was in, then it was like, oh fuck, cool. Like that's a huge win for us, And after, with Scott leaving, it kind of created a void. So being able to fill that on some level, with somebody that is pro Bighorn, it was a huge play for us. It was a really, really massive addition. So it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome, and it definitely made it feel a little bit more meaningful, at least for me. He's there at the end, obviously. We win the cup and. We're celebrating and all that stuff. Like, I just thought that it was really fitting that he was there, having won it as a player along with Damon, and then having got to coach together to this national championship. I thought was really, really cool to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so if you'll indulge me, I want to tell one of my favorite stories from the year.
Okay.
And I kind of think it set the tone for the whole season.
Okay. So I'm scared right now.
Okay, so I think you've heard this. So, the game is called Bus Tag, and our very first set of games that year were in Cody against the Quake. And I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but we always go to the same place.
Is that where Lime went out the back door?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So anyway, they treat us really good. It's good food, but it's kind of delayed, right? Like, so, I mean, shit, at this point, we had 25 on the bus. We had 3 coaches. We had Paul. We had me. So I mean, there's a lot to feed. So food kind of comes out staggered, right? Like, not everybody gets it all at once. So some of the players finish before a big group of the others. Jack Lambert was one of the guys that got his food last. Yeah. So anyway, Damon's like, all right, it's time to get the hell out of here. And, all the boys, they're starting to take off towards the bus. And the idea, those of you that don't know, bus tag is you don't want to be the last one to the bus or tagged, basically, right? So a lot of hijinks can ensue inside of that game.
But the loser has to sing.
Yeah, losers got to sing, or whatever they decide to do that day.
I think it's usually they sing. But.
So, anyways, all the boys get out of the restaurant, and it's just myself, Damon, Paul, and Lambert. And he goes up to the waitress and he's like, all right, look, we're playing bus tag and there's no way I can be it. Like, do you have a back door? And she's like, oh, yeah, come on through the kitchen. So Lambert disappears into the kitchen and I just look at Damon like, oh, man, this is hilarious. We head out to the bus. And a couple of guys are outside circling. We get all the way to the bus. I sit down. Damon sits down. I'm like, I still haven't seen Jack. And All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he comes barreling around the back of the restaurant along this like grassy hill that's right next to it. And Damon and I see him, but the boys outside waiting for him don't. So he's making his way towards the bus, and he's in a full sprint, and he's just got this huge shit-eating grin on his face.
Which he always had.
And he's laughing all the way. And he gets to the bus, and the guys are chasing him. And anyway, he ends up getting on the bus, and all the guys are laughing and high-fiving the whole thing. But I really feel like that set the tone for the year because as serious as they were, especially a guy like Jack in your locker room, like there are those moments where they can just be loose and have fun with it. And that was really, really cool to see. I just wanted to tell that story because
Jack was the glue, man. Like
100%.
Jack was like he's become really special. I know he keeps in touch with Damon, and he's just a great human. And I mean, he's a great player. You talk about a guy that had a really interesting coming up career, that sort of thing, with being in the Western League and all stuff like that, and having to sit out his first year of college and just where he's at now. We ran into him at Blaine, and he's just loving it. Like, it's just really happy to see it. Funny side note, I played with his dad. So he's from Fairbanks.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I played with Barron, his father. So
shit.
I think we were squirts or some shit. Yeah. So
whoa.
So yeah, it was having the Fairbanks connection was hilarious. But yeah, because he's from Fairbanks, obviously. But yeah, no, like he was just having that kind of veteran mentality coming in, and he'd been there and done that. Like, it wasn't, Jack was just Jack, and so having him come in, settle down, and kind of buy in, and once he bought in and he started playing the way, it's just a huge addition. Like, he fucking scored that goal because we got him from Louisiana, remember?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And we're at Nationals. I'll never forget. Mike and I are sitting up having beers, and it's like we're playing Louisiana, and what was that? That was the first game.
Yeah, first
Correct.
or second.
So it was the second, and so Jack goes down. I think it was like 30 seconds, gets a game-winning goal, and does the fucking windmill right in front of their bench, and it's like. I just remember looking at Mike going, did he just do that? And I'm like, yeah, he fucking did. Like oh, man. And he just had this big shit-eating grin on his face. And I think the coach's name is Chris Francis, great guy. We were really good business partners with Danny and them down there. They're just good guys, and they're trying to do it right. But, like, you just see him look at fucking Jack, and he's just like, seriously, you idiot. And Jack's just got this big shitting grin on his face as he just windmills this huge ass celly right in front of their whole fucking bench, right? Like, and it's just like, oh no, he did it. Like, he did it. So yeah, that's the character of that kid. It was pretty awesome. But to your point, like, guys like that, those pieces that came in that filled a niche, that just bought in right away, that were able to work with all the guys, and were able to just bring everybody together, because Jack, would he come in at the beginning of the year? Yeah, he came in right at the beginning, and he just showed up and just right in, settled in, and just went to work. He came in a little different. Like, he came in, he had to figure it out a little bit. But once he got his confidence and once he got his swagger, man, like on the ice, it was all over. He was a huge piece for that.
For sure. I really love that Damon allowed me into the locker room with the camera, and even nowadays. I'm not carrying the camera, but, now I'm on the broadcast. And so, I'll say, hey, can I sit down on our power play meetings and things like that? And he's all about it. Mm-hmm. And I'm a student of the game. I absolutely love the game of hockey. I don't know nearly as much as I thought I did. And I know that because I got to see how he prepares. That year specifically, how he worked with the power plays and how he worked with the face-off plays, and each guy knows their role, and each is it a face-off win or a face-off loss? Like, that shit blew my mind. That particular year, I just felt like the guys really bought in early.
Yeah, a lot of them were coming off, like, obviously with because when Scotty coached the year before, it was highly structured, and that's one thing that Damon picked up on really well. So after Scotty moved on, it was a lot of those guys were set in there. It wasn't like recoaching, you know what I mean? So it was just adapting the new guys that came in, and then they could move forward with it, which was makes it easier essentially. I mean, it's still a challenging deal, right? Guys still got to buy in, guys got to work the system, but like, he wasn't trying to recoach 20 players, so guys came in, guys could help themselves, and that's what the team did. They just gelled, man, and like, they helped each other out, and they just like I said, they just created like their own like little swagger, their own whatever you want to call it, that stuff, and they just made it work. Like, you know, big goals happened when it had like Trey Perea, like, you know, 0-0 game in Bozeman. I remember standing down on the glass, and it was early on, and like we couldn't buy a goal. I don't think Trey had a shift for like 2 or 3 periods, and just goes down, burns 5-hole. Or no, I'm sorry, not 2 or 3 periods. Like he had a couple of shifts. He'd been whatever, and comes down and burns 5-hole. You know, when goals were tough that game. Like, just guys rose up and did like really cool shit when they had to. And like I said, they never ever once sweated winning a hockey game. Like, it was just, no, we got it, no big deal. We'll figure it out.
So the players had the confidence. What did you and Mike think throughout the year? Was this something where did you carry the same confidence? Did you have concerns? Like, or you know, what was your mindset like that?
I mean,
that
me
year?
personally, like, it was just a matter of time. What team was going to do it? That's really what it was. Like, you know, when we did the first Beyond the Bench, man, I got 10 fingers. Well, as I was so put elegantly by Mike's brother Bob, I'm an idiot. I've got 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. But semantics, for fuck's sakes. But either way, like, I like bunch of rings. Let's just go with a bunch of rings to put on phalanges, right? So it was just a matter of time. Like, I mean, you can't go through this and you know, do what Mike and I are doing and not eventually get the best players to do something like this. And like that team was special. Everything about it was special, and it was just a matter of time before we were going to do it. You know, and it's like you can even parlay it into this year's team. You know, like this year's team is special, man. They just some guys saw it last year. Some guys see what it is. Others are like, you know, they're starting to come into their own too. Like these guys got just as much firepower as that national team. The only difference is they're just finding their swagger a little late.
Sure. And
obviously we saw it with Sheridan, like that second game. Like I said, 5 periods of hockey out of 6. The only reason that we had an issue was that first period they just kind of came out and whatever. But once they found it, Sheridan couldn't get the puck out of their zone.
Right.
So we're seeing that develop this year's team, but that year's team just came in with it. Like they just knew that it wasn't even going to be an issue, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it was so really from my standpoint, and I think Mike might agree, but from my standpoint, it was a matter of time. What team's going to do it? And then once that team started rolling, you know, it was like, okay, yeah, but we were blessed. We didn't have a lot of injuries that year. You know, guys got sick, but it was like it wasn't like you lost the whole team like we did this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 4 or 5 guys would get sick. Then another 4 or 5 guys would get sick. I mean, shit, we started this year. Would we have 11 dudes out?
Yeah.
9 with injuries, 2 with illness.
For weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like it just rotated through the locker room. Like it was
yeah, but I mean, I think we
ridiculous.
had like just injury related. It was massive, like that first couple of months as well. And then obviously the sicknesses come through, which they all get, you know, and it just, but it's huge blocks of players as opposed to where it would just kind of 3 or 4, 5, you know what I mean?
Right.
But we were very blessed with not a lot of injuries either. We had pretty resilient players that didn't get hurt, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And not that anyone tries to get hurt, but like it was just puck luck. Just the hockey gods were very favorable that year, and this year, you know, if you want to do a little bit of a comparison, early on they weren't so favorable with our guys, you know. So
right. Speaking of pieces that came together that year, the trade with Butte that brought Crooksy. I really wanted to ask you about this because, and I know that you're going to tell the story, so I'm going to let you do it. But talk to me about, you know, how Crooksy came to the team.
It was a conversation with Bill, the owner of Butte. We're like, dude, like you're not going to make playoffs. Give us your guy. And fuck, you talk about the last piece of the puzzle. Like that was just exciting. Like it was so. So, and anybody who watched the games know that Crooksy got the game-winning goal in the fucking final game, right? So, and the best part of this whole thing is that Mike and I are standing up there with Bill Lavelle with this, right? And may have been intoxicated, may not have been intoxicated. I probably was. No, 100% was. So, but it was cool to see that we could make something happen for that kid who'd been in the league like 4 years, and he played with Butte. He loved Butte. There's nothing wrong with what he was doing. It was just whatever. But like to be able to give him, you know, a chance to win it, and then actually becomes the guy that scores the game-winning goal against the Generals, was really exciting, and to see Bill get all excited and everything. So after we go down and do the celebration thing, and then we're in the lobby just fucking getting after it, right? Like just getting the business.
Yep.
And Bill's just sitting there looking at me, and I remember looking at him and go, okay, you can wear my medal for 10 minutes. And I gave him my fucking, and he's just sitting there just smiling and just enjoying the whole thing. Because
awesome.
I mean, at the end of the day, like they were a huge part in making sure Crooksy had success as well.
Right.
And I think that's kudos to the organization, kudos to Bill for really giving, a guy that'd been really loyal to him for 4 years an opportunity to go do it. And then obviously having it close out with him getting the game winner. And it was like a muffin. Like the kid could fucking score from anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember it almost looked like it. For some reason, once again, I was maybe inebriated, but I just remember it being a fucking ball, and it just kind of like, it just bounced out to him. He just whacked it. And I mean, fuck, if it would have gone any other, like 5 more feet, it probably would have bounced like a racquetball. Like it was just a fucking muffin.
Right.
And it went in, and it was like, oh my God, like we're actually going to win this fucking thing. And to be able to have all that was really, really cool. But yeah, just Bill just sitting there with his fucking medal on and just laughing, like just had this big shitty grin on his face. And it's like, yeah, dude, like, that was the final piece of the puzzle that our team needed that year. So
sure. And he fit in with the boys right away.
Oh,
it was like he'd been with us all year.
Yeah. So everyone goes and gets their haircuts, right? We had Malik, and he gets the cornrows. And what does Crooksy do? Gets cornrows. Like
Crooksy's cornrows, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like awesome. Like he just right in. Like, but a lot of those guys he'd played against for 3 years. You know what I mean? Or a few of them, I guess. And he knew them all, so it wasn't. And everybody, all the Arizona boys, everybody just brought him right in. Like it wasn't a big deal. Like he just meshed right away.
Was it true that he wanted to be a Bighorn even sooner than he became one? Like,
I don't know.
I seem to remember a story or two where.
Well, I mean, anytime you want to trade for him, he wants to. The guy was, what was he? Had the most goals in Frontier Division or some shit. He had something. He just scored. Like he just scored.
Yeah.
But all those guys were on that team, Bradshaw and all of them. They were fiercely loyal to Bill and to Butte, and rightfully so, man. Like that's cool to see that they are that way. So like there was not that I'm aware of, was there talks earlier on with it? I'm not going to speak for that because I don't know.
Gotcha.
But I know that we talked about like we want him if it gets to the point and they don't make playoffs, like we want him.
For sure.
And he expressed it, and he was down, obviously, and then big fella showed up in the lineup, and the rest is history. And I think he scored 2 goals his first game with us. It was something fucking stupid like that. It was like, okay, welcome to the party, pal.
100%. Yep. The first time he did the horns up.
Yep.
It just big grin on his face, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was enjoying it. All right, so Crooksy scores the goal. And we know, like, okay, I can't remember how much time was left, but we'd been buzzing, right? That whole 5-6 minute sequence before Crooksy gets it in, like, the Generals couldn't get it out of their zone. We were humming, and it was just a matter of time before we scored. Take me through that moment. You said Bill Laval was there, and you guys were celebrating. What was going through your mind at that point? Were you like, nope, this is it, we're done, we're good? Or were you like, no, there's still enough time left? Like, what was...
Well, we took a penalty.
Oh, yes, we did.
We took a penalty.
Yes, we did take a penalty.
So so we finished the game shorthanded.
That's right.
So there was no oh, sweet, we got this in the bag. It's whatever. But if you watch the bench, and you were there, you watch the bench, you watch the players, they ain't bat an eye, man.
Right.
They're just like, fuck it. Puck gets on their stick, they chip it out.
Mm-hmm.
Puck gets on the stick, they chip it out. They come down, they pressure, they do their thing. Like it was just like business as usual.
For sure.
So, and then once it started ticking down, like it was awesome. So,
the celebrations on the ice afterwards were pretty cool. You and Mike come down, obviously, and you're on the bench. Jasmine came down too. Mm-hmm. A lot of hugs and things like that. But Joe Feemster is one that caught my eye because you had known him since he was just a tiny kid, and here you've won a championship together. The emotions of that day are still pretty fresh in my mind, especially when I watch Beyond the Bench, which I still do, just because it's great to relive. Talk to me about the relationship. We touched on you and Dave. It's one of those relationship, but talk to me about the relationship with the boys too.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of those guys like Bogan, Dylan, Joe, obviously, with Sam being there and everything. You know, you wanted those guys to. I mean, they put everything on the line for you. You know what I mean? But that's why you invest in your players. We've talked about that. Like you invest in the right team. Like, and Mike and I will always do that. But then you've got that special group, man, that just buys in because they know, like, hey, we're getting everything we want, and we have to perform. It was just that group, just all around, just no matter what happened, went on the ice and just worked. So being able to have those guys, especially the special ones, and like I mean that by the guys that were with us from the first year, you know, to see them be able to accomplish that is huge. Yeah. You know, that's the special ones. Joe, obviously, because his brother was a Bighorn, you know, and just to have Joe get one so that way he can show Sam. And he does. Uh-huh. But
no doubt about that.
But like to see that and to see, you know, the guys that were with us from the first year work our process and be able to show like, hey, I won the whole thing, that's what's really exciting.
I think Owen Ramsey was one of those guys too, right? When did Rammer come on?
Second year. Gotcha.
But nonetheless, still a part of the group that really was like had a chip on their shoulder, right?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And sometimes you got to move forward, right? So to be able to go and what did we do that year when Bloomer was captain? What did we do? We lost 2 and won 1.
Right.
And then the first year we won 2, lost 1.
Right.
And then the third year we won. So like to be able to go and see that like, okay, like this is what it is. And it's awesome that our division now is getting better.
Right.
Because one of the biggest things back then when we would go to nationals would be like, that's all top level competition, right? So like you're playing the best of our league. So, you know, when like, especially the first year we'd beat everybody by 8 or 9, it was really tough to elevate your game every night to go and make a showing at nationals. We were fortunate to do that with the 2-1 year, but the next year was just grind, and yeah, man, we just were in a position to where it's challenging if you know you do beat other teams in our league by 10. And then you have to go and be ready every night, and that was one of the things that we struggled with. We saw it in Blaine too, you know. But with the division getting better, the other thing is they're getting rid of the wild card now. So like this will be the first year without the wild card.
Okay.
And so when you have this kind of evolving of everything right now, I think being able to give the boys a chance to see what potentially they're gonna see, you know, and seeing the group that went last year now or the leadership group this year, like they know what to expect, that's what it is. To go and win back to back is truly unique anyway. Mm-hmm. But having guys see it and then knowing what to prepare for it, you know, that's the biggest thing. And like those guys that went that second year that were on the winning team, or the guys that lost both years that were really fucking bitter, you know, and that are now on this winning team, you know, they went in with something to prove, and it was laying everything out on the line. Like there was no, like gloves are off, here we go, you know.
100%. Yeah, I remember the boys coming into camp and they were talking to each other all summer long. Like there was no, you know, a lot of these guys went and, you know, they had their NAHL tryouts and things like that, but there was no doubt that these guys were going to be coming back. You know, Hunter Colomb, for one, being a guy that was like, no, there's unfinished business here. You know, we're in it to win it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so after the celebrations and we're in the lobby, we're having some beers and having a good time. At that point, that was the last I saw of Jed and Mike. So I know what I did for the rest of the night. What did you guys do?
I have no fucking idea. like your timeline sucks right now because I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, in all fairness. Now, I know what I woke up and what I continued to do on my flight home.
Okay.
So I got
yes. Okay. Yep,
so
yep.
I woke up. I got up and I was like, you know, obviously it was a wee bit rough. And then I walk out and Theo and I were on the same flight. And I remember they're loading the bus up and shit. And I walk out and Theo's like, "Where's Damon?" I said, "Who gives a fuck? We got a plane to meet, bro. He's an adult. Paulie drives off. He'll find his way home, right? So anyway, everyone knows Theo and I go to the airport. Now, Greener is doing Greener things.
Okay.
He's like, Theo and I had I don't know why he didn't ride with us for some reason. He got an Uber. He had his own car or something like that. And we're sitting there, and I told Theo, I said, and I wasn't feeling too hot, but I was like, 24 hours, dude. Like, let's celebrate this shit for 24 hours, and we'll turn it off. Like, we gotta make sure we do it right, but then it is what it is. So we're sitting there having breakfast in the St. Louis airport, and obviously we're having, I don't know, like orange juice with shit in it. And so all of a sudden, and Theo's looking at me like, what is this guy doing? I'm just sitting there eating my eggs. I'm having my beverage, and then I see Greener walk by, and Greener does the old. So I yell at him, and he does the old, and then he stops, and he just does, and he comes back. He's, what are you guys doing? It's like, what do you think we're fucking doing, dude?
That's awesome.
So then we get on the plane, and celebration cocktails, and then that's the infamous video from Salt Lake, right?
Okay, yeah. So that's what I was going to ask you about, because I think you started doing your video updates around about.
Well, I had my weekly update.
That's right, and I may or may not have still been in the bag myself. I just remember that when I watched this video, I could not stop laughing because I'm like, that is the shape that all of us are in.
I don't
right
even
now.
know how many views it has at this point.
I don't know.
But it was, I was buckled. And I'm like okay, back up. So that's when I started the weekly update shit we were talking about, right?
Right.
And I did the fucking phone on the face thing. So,
That's right.
so I did that one. So it was at the game. And like, once again, I may have not been intoxicated. And so I did the weekly update, but I had the phone too fucking close to my face, and it was like I was trying to get it in the background. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I still really don't know what I'm doing, but like I had it like this, and it was fucking going back. Next thing you know, Mike's brother, once I posted, I had no idea what I did. I started getting these fucking text messages, and everybody's got like half their phone on their face and shit. And I'm like, why is this fucking text message coming through? And Greener's like, really? And I'm like, what? And so then for like the next, like, I think it was like every 3 or 4 hours, Rick, his brother, sent one where his face is right by his computer then. And it was like half his computer, like it was just this barrage. And I don't know if I was actually picking up what they were getting at, because I had no fucking idea. Because usually, and Matthew knows better, I post the shit, I send it to him, I don't watch it. I have no idea what's going on.
Right.
And it was like, all the Colorado crew, all the guys that we play golf with, Mac, like everybody was just sending fucking these things. Absolutely buckled, trying to fucking film this thing. And it was so stupid. And I was like, but I didn't think anything of it. I thought I was trying to get the game. Hey, we're at the St. Louis at Nationals, and I'm holding this thing up. But I didn't realize I was like right fucking here. And it was like, got my ear and a portion of it, and then basically the side of my face.
Right.
Like, it was just ridiculous.
Here's your eyeball. It's all glossed over.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So then, so these are the two weekly updates that came from, and then obviously we get to the lounge in Salt Lake, and Theo and I have like 4 hours, and I've got lounge passes, so we go in there, and complimentary cocktails and stuff, and I'm like, I gotta fucking do this video, and it's like, once again, why I decided to do it then and there, I have no idea. Probably not the wisest thing, but hey, it was made for good television, I guess.
Damn right
so,
it did.
Yeah,
and a damn good story too. All right, man. I don't want to beat a dead horse here. I think we've really covered it, and your entrepreneurial journey obviously continues. We're going to be able to explore a lot of that in future episodes. But thanks for walking down memory lane, and
absolutely,
and diving into.
We need to talk about that team. That team is special, man. And this team, not to take away from this team this year, this team is special too, and they can do amazing stuff. They just they just had some bumps in the road, and now I think they're getting their swagger, and we're going to see a second half of the season, playoffs, and hopefully another natty run that's really special for this group too, because we got just as many weapons.
100%.
So that's really exciting.
Yeah, it's really fun to see it come together for them, and the confidence just continues to rise.
And it just, like, they found their stride. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what happens. These guys, they're now have the ability, and they know they can just walk into any rink and win now. So it's really cool to see that energy being replicated, what we saw off the 24 team, so the Fraser Cup team, which is exciting to see again.
That's awesome. Okay, so Ask Jed, and I don't know. I've been watching this and thinking maybe Matthew can come up with a fun little jingle and a little thing that comes up and it's like, ask Jed. I don't know. Please don't clip. Actually, clip it. Yeah, that's fine. So anyway, here's our segment of Ask Jed. So after you and I talked about, after that first episode, you were talking that there were some stories that you remembered, but we hadn't talked about. This particular one has to do with a phone call to Mike Green from...
Oh, when I was in Singapore.
Correct.
Yeah.
How about? Are you cool with telling that story?
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk to it a little bit. So
Okay,
I was living in
okay.
Singapore at the time, and I hadn't talked to Greener. So usually when I would come in from offshore or whatever, I'd touch base and see what it is. And I had this lady friend there that didn't really speak good English, and so or at all. I think we talked through Google Translate, and so anyway, we went out to dinner and we were watching TV and I was like, the whole time that whole weekend we were by the pool and doing whatever, I would try and teach her English, and the one thing I was able to teach her was "fuck you, Mike." So. So I had a few drinks that night, and it was in the morning time over there, and I call him and I hang up. So he's forced to call me back, and he calls back, and I give the phone to her, and I go, "Okay, say it." And she's like, "Fuck you, Mike," and he's like, "What?" and so anyway, this whole conversation goes on, and he starts yelling at her, and he's like, "She's fucking telling me to fuck off." And apparently if you talk to him about it, I'm in the background, he can hear me, and I'm literally laughing so hard. I've got my face in a pillow. I'm trying not to make loud, but I can't stop. And so basically at that point I got on the phone. He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" He goes, "How old are you?" I'm like, I'm 4. I said, that was the funniest shit ever. So yeah, that was that one. But we do
to hear
stupid
him
shit.
talk about it in his perspective too was pretty hilarious because he does that whole Mike Green the fuck.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for answering that question. That's a fun one. So I appreciate you guys watching, and all the shares and all the likes and the comments have been really awesome, guys. Keep those coming. We're gonna dive into something completely different in the next series, and it's something that Jed and I are both very passionate about. We're going to be talking about youth sports. Are they broken? What's going on? It'll be an interesting conversation for sure. So with that being said, that's Matthew on the ones and twos. I'm Brad Oldhouse, your host. Thank you so much to Jed Snyder, and
See you next week.
that's Unscripted. That's Unscripted.
Once again, what the fuck is that? Deuces, bitch.